Hari Ram, Hari Ram, Hari Ram, Ram Ram, Hari Hari.
This general system, Hare Krishna, where we kind of pause the recording until, and that way.
$31?
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Good morning.
Hare Krishna Ram.
We're going to continue the Srimad Bhagavatam, second canto, 15th chapter, text 31 of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tejasatu Vikruvandat.
Tejasaku Vikruvana.
Indriyani Dashabhavam.
Indriyani Vashabhavam.
Jnana Shikta Kriya Shakti.
Jnana Shikta Kriya Shakti.
Buddhi Pranascha Tejasu.
Buddhi Pranascha Tejasu.
Shrotram Tvagrane Trijiva.
Shrotam Tvagana Trijiva.
Vadur Vidhara Hari Priyava.
Vadur Vedram Vipayava.
Anyone like to chant?
Dasa Vikurvanad.
Dasa Vikurvanad.
Indriyani Dashabhavan.
Indriyani Dashabhavan.
Shakti Kriya Shakti.
Jnana Shakti Kriya Shakti.
Buddhi Pranascha Tejaso.
Buddhi Pranascha Tejaso.
Shotram Tvagrana Jiva.
Shrotam Tvagrana Trijiva.
Vadur Medran Vipayava.
Vadur Medran Vipayava.
Dajasatu Vikarvana.
Dajasatu Vikarvana.
Indriyani Dashabhavan.
Indriyani Dashabhavan.
Jnana Shakti Kriya Shakti.
Jnana Shakti Kriya Shakti.
Buddhi Pranascha Tejaso.
Buddhi Pranascha Tejaso.
Shotram Tvagrana Drigjiva.
Shrotam Tvagrana Drigjiva.
Vadur Medran Vipayava.
Vadur Medram Vipayava. Dajasatu Vikurvana.
Dajasatu Vikurvana.
Indriyani Dashabhavan.
Indriyani Dashabhavan.
Jnana Shakti Kriya Shakti.
Jnana Shakti Kriya Shakti.
Buddhi Pranascha Tejaso.
Buddhi Pranascha Tejaso.
Shrotam Tvagana Jiva.
Shrotam Tvagrana Drigjiva.
Vadur Medram Vipayava.
Vadur Medran Vipayava.
Dajasatu Vikurvana.
Dajasatu Vikurvana.
Indriyani Dashabhavan.
Indriyani Dashabhavan. Jnana Shakti Kriya Shakti. Buddhi Pranascha Tejaso.
Shrotam Tvagrana
Shrotam Tvagranadrigjiva Bhagdo Medram Vipayava.
Anyone on the internet? Don't be shy. Taji Sat,
Taijasa,
by the passionate egoism.
by the
Passionate egoism.
Two,
Two.
Bhat,
Bhat.
Vikurvanat,
Vikurvanat.
transformation of
transformation of
Indriyani,
Indriyani,
the senses.
senses,
Dasha,
dasa,
ten,
and
Abhavan,
Abhavan,
generated.
generated,
Jnana Shakti,
Jnana Shakti,
the five senses for acquiring knowledge.
the
Five senses for acquiring knowledge.
Kriya Shakti,
Kriya Shakti,
the five senses of activities.
five senses of activity,
Buddhi,
Buddhi,
intelligence.
intelligence,
Prana,
Prana,
the living energy.
the living energy,
Cha,
Cha.
also.
also,
Tajeshu,
Rajasa,
all products of the mode of passion.
all products of the mode of passion,
Shrotram, the
Shotram,
sense of hearing.
sense for hearing,
Tvak,
Tva,
the sense of touching.
sense for touching,
Grana,
Rana,
the sense of smelling.
sense for smelling,
Drik,
Drink,
the sense of seeing.
sense for seeing,
Jiva,
Jiva,
the sense for tasting.
sense for tasting,
Vak,
Ba,
the sense for speaking.
sense for speaking,
Duha,
Do,
the sense for handling.
sense for handling,
Medra,
Medra,
genitals.
the genitals,
Angri,
Angri,
the legs.
the legs,
Yava,
Payava,
the sense for evacuating.
sense for evacuating.
Translation. By further transformation of the mode of passion, the sense organs, like the ear, skin, nose, eyes, tongue, mouth, hands, genitals, legs, and the outlet for evacuating, together with intelligence and living energy, are all generated. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. The living condition in material existence depends more or less on one's intelligence and powerful living energy. Intelligence to counteract the hard struggle for existence is assisted by the senses for acquiring knowledge, and the living energy maintains himself by manipulating the active organs like the hands and legs. But on the whole, the struggle for existence is an exertion of the mode of passion. What is exertion?
Effort.
Right. Therefore, all the sense organs headed by intelligence and the living energy, prana, are different products and byproducts of the second mode of nature, called passion. This mode of passion, however, is the product of the air element as described before. Om Agyantarinandasyam Gyanashala Shalakaya Chakshuramimitayena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, can you open my darkened eyes with the torchlight of knowledge? I offer my humble obeisances to His lotus feet. Jai Prabhupada. So I remember the last time myself too, I like, we touched the subject matter of like evacuation, genitals, and all the 9 holes was in Switzerland actually, when we read was the 13th chapter we were finishing, and how all these different sense organs in relation to the sense objects either can assist us or they can disturb us, in particular in our spiritual practice, right? They can be in different modes, mode of ignorance, passion, goodness. But from what it seems to me, from reading this verse now in relation to all of that, is that all the development and all the production of the cells, sense organs, the holes, the material body itself is, like it says here, it's a product of that it's a byproduct of the second mode of nature, passion. Therefore, all the sense organs headed by the intelligence and the living energy, prana, are different products and byproducts of the second mode of nature called passion. And now when we think about it, it's no wonder, right, that Lord Brahma, who is in charge of the creation of producing, manifesting all these, all the living entities, all the species of life from his holes of the body, right? There are different descriptions, I think, in either this canto or the next canto. There's so many times the creation is explained in the Bhagavatam, every time in a different way. Sometimes it's so different that it seems like rather symbolic. But Prabhupada actually says nothing is symbolic in the Srimad Bhagavatam. I think there was a conversation that they asked a reporter or just maybe a disciple. He asked Prabhupada, should we take all the descriptions of in the Srimad Bhagavatam, either creation or the plot itself as symbolic? And Prabhupada says, no, there's nothing symbolic here. Everything is very factual, very, very real. Even, I think, there's this chapter that the story of Puranjan, right, and the 9 gates of the 9 gates of the city. I don't remember, right?
It's an allegory.
Yeah, it's seemingly an allegory, right? But it's so real. It's so tangible. Like, I think from the Bhagavatam, that's like something that the most like touched me from all the different stories, because it's so much relates to the Kali Yuga, although it was spoken by Narada Muni long time ago to this one king, right, to teach him a lesson. And
Prachina
Barishat. And because the king was so puffed up, Narada Muni, he devised a symbolic representation of how the clutches of material nature take us by the neck, eyes, belly, genitals, all these holes of the body. So yes, Lord Brahma, he, as the first living entity, he comes and he starts manifesting that. And no wonder that he is in charge of this mode of passion, because this is what this line symbolizes to me, that the whole idea of being here, it's this mode of passion. Idea of creation, creating. There's nothing actually, nothing to create. Everything is already existing. Everything is existing in the spiritual world, in the Paravyom, where every talk is a song, every walk is a dance. So as soon as we start to create or manifest something from ideas, from our own ideas, it turns into a perverted reflection of these 3 modes of material nature. Either it's passion, goodness, or ignorance. And then slowly when we create and we understand by experience either of hearing or experience of doing, right? The Prabhupada describes 2 types of intelligence. It's intelligence that gathers knowledge by hearing. That's the best intelligence. We hear, like now we hear the Srimad Bhagavatam, we hear all these different stories, all these narrations about different characters. Like we read before reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, the timeline before the Srimad Bhagavatam was the Bhagavad Gita, and the Bhagavad Gita was dealing more with what Krishna has to tell us. We hear about his philosophy, his different things that Krishna wants to tell us. And in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we hear about his devotees, about his interaction with his devotees. And by hearing all these different narrations, if we take to that process of intelligence, being intelligent by hearing, Prabhupada cites this nice example many times, that a child, if he if he wants to touch the fire, and the father tells him, "Don't touch the fire," and he listens to him, that's first class intelligence. He's not gonna cause harm to himself, right, or to others. But if he wants to touch the fire, then he too is gonna gather knowledge, but that knowledge gonna come from suffering. He's gonna encounter the heat of the fire, and that's how he's going to learn. And still, there is actually even a lower type of intelligence, which is intelligence that you gather knowledge by touching the sense objects with your senses and hurting yourself. But because of our forgetfulness, we fall. We again. We forget about the pain that we encountered. We forget even why we encountered that pain, or how, and we again go and touch the fire. And this is the forgetfulness, especially in the Kali Yuga, because Kali Yuga, right, is manda sumanda mantayo, manda bhagya upadrata. The intelligence is very low, memory is not very sharp. The sense organs too, like why people are so much into sense gratification, why they want to enjoy so much more and more and more and more grossly. Even like you compare the generations, like 10 years ago, 20 years ago, the sense gratification becomes more and more gross. You can see the advertisements, the YouTube, like Instagram, like social media is packed with visual sense gratification. Why? Because specifically in this age, are all these holes of the body, they deteriorate. Also, they deteriorate in their propensity for enjoyment. So this is a very difficult process to actually acquire knowledge like that. So the Bhagavatam suggests this very nice process. You hear, you chant, you repeat the message for the benefit of others, but especially for our own benefit. Prabhupada, he many times says that if our disciples, if they don't repeat this knowledge, or if they don't preach, he uses the word preach, but actually the preaching, we think about preaching, I'm going to go catch someone outside and shake him with Bhagavatam, and shake his life or whatever. But no, the preaching is to ourselves when we repeat the message, and I can feel it like right now, because I haven't done it for like for a long time. I really feel that I'm like talking to myself right now, and trying to see what from my reading in the last month or two, or everything I was trying to absorb with my hearing, what was actually assimilated to the degree that I can convey it to you. I can share it with you in a way that you can understand. So that's actually why the chanting is there, why the hearing is there. First of all, for our own benefit, and it's not selfishness. Why it's not selfishness? Because if the physician, right, Prabhupada wants us all to be physicians, to go and help people. If we cannot help ourselves, then who are we gonna help? And who's gonna take to our help, right? If one of the things that I sort of noted from the last Kartik, one of the people who was leading the discussion on Kartik, he was saying, if Prabhupada says chant and stay high forever, and you're not high, you're high on I don't know, on something else, not on the holy name, then how you can share that state of highness, how you can share that happiness. So this is our duty. Our duty, of course, we have our duty. Prabhupada says the first duty is to finish one's prescribed numbers or rounds, whatever that number is, right? Initiated or formally initiated, the chant 16 rounds, some chant less, some chant more. But the first duty is actually that we happy in Krishna consciousness, that we, or I like to say high. We high in Krishna consciousness. We high when we chant, we high when we read, when we share, and that's actually what heals not just our heart but the heart of others. The people that when they hear this beautiful, sweet philosophy, this nectar itself, it just cures everyone's inebrities. I don't know if it's the right word to use in this context, but
the inebriety, the intoxication of material life.
yes, yeah, and elevates, right? Starting from the hole of the ear, it elevates all the other holes of the body, and then yeah, at least when we come to goodness, then I think someone in Switzerland he raised that in goodness, well, even evacuation, it feels very good. so so yeah, I mean it's true. All the holes of the body, if at least we come to goodness, then we can relax. And why we relax in Krishna consciousness, not just to relax to go on a holiday. No, we relax to start the real work. If your Prabhupada, I think he gives to this metaphor, if your boat is rocky, right? Like you cannot do anything on the boat, right? You're gonna have a seasickness. I never experienced that, but I heard it's like horrible. And people that have that, they just pray to see the shore, not even to be on the shore, but just to see the shore. And yeah, so at least when we come to the mode of goodness, we can relax from struggling in a mode of passion or ignorance. In a mode of ignorance, we're struggling even more than in a mode of passion because we don't even know that we're struggling. I like one of my favorite lines, I think, in the purports of Srila Prabhupada in the Bhagavad Gita is in the second chapter. He says that the real perplexity of life, that we're not aware of the perplexities. We just live as though nothing is hurting us. Oh, everything is good, everything is nice. The world is, good place for me to be. So this is a big perplexity because you're not even aware that there is a problem. So yeah, so we figure out, okay, there is a problem. I'm vulnerable. I'm being attacked by the modes of material nature, by other people, by other conditioned souls, by insects, by my own mind. And okay, let me face it. Let me try to work on my conditioning here. And we strive for goodness, and in goodness, we can relax by starting this nice practice of Krishna consciousness. And of course, it can be done from any stage of material existence. Even the most conditioned living entities, if they chant Hare Krishna, if they hear this vibration, the benefited. And Lord Chaitanya, he exhibited that himself. He was chanting in the Jerican forest on the way to Jagannath Puri, and everyone was getting liberated. His assistant, who was a Krishna Das, assisted him. Someone walked with him.
Yeah,
right?
there was one time when it was Krishna Das.
First time was Krishna. Krishna Das got bewildered by the gypsy women.
The gypsy women.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then after that, it was Balabhadra.
Balabhadra.
And he was a faithful servant.
And he walked with him?
Yeah, Balabhadra was the one oh my God, it's tigers and elephants.
Yeah.
It was Balabhadra who was there in the Jharkhand.
And the description is so nice. Like the tigers were kissing the deer, and the snakes were jumping, and really seems like a fairy tale. But this is the spiritual world. Everyone is a friend. Everyone loves each other. And Lord Chaitanya, he manifested that even with such living entities like the trees, even, right? You have the tree will disappear out of ecstasy. And the tree, right, is so in tamas, is so unconscious that it doesn't even feel pain. There is some slight degree, right, of pain. Some Prabhupada, I think he mentions that some scientists actually measure the pain of the resistance of plants when you cut them, when you do some damage to them, but it's almost nil. but still, Lord Chaitanya, he did that, and he did that not even with sitting and reading Bhagavatam to them. I think there was another similar pastime with Bhaktivinoda Thakur, right? He took like the Bhagavatam and he read the whole Bhagavatam next to that. I know the tree was ghost haunted. There was some like ghost in the tree, and then the tree it disappeared, or it just I think it just the tree just like fell apart or something like that. But too, it was affected by reading of the Bhagavatam. So yeah, but we don't have to go that far. We can start with something very accessible, our own self and other living entities in the human form of life that can hear, that can take to the practice. Some of the practice, everyone can, Prabhupada says there are two things we can push on everyone, is chanting and prasadam, especially sweet, right? Especially prasadam. Gargamuni Prabhu actually told me that he would, it wasn't, I think in Gainesville, because
He started Gainesville.
Yeah, he started Gainesville, and he would, and if someone would come to argue, he would just throw a lado in his mouth directly, and he will swallow the lado, and he will forget about the whole agitation,
I'm
and
sure.
he will continue. Yeah, I think he started like the simply wonderfuls.
Simply wonderful.
So yeah, prasadam and chanting, it's an irresistible tool how to connect everyone to Krishna consciousness from any degree. Jai.
Right.
If anyone would like to say, share, comment.
That's something that's happening for me here in your class. Something in your class you said, in that verse, it describes all the senses, the working senses and the knowledge acquiring senses, and they are described separated from anybody. And so that's really interesting. Like there is a verse in 11th chapter of the Gita where Krishna describes you have eyes everywhere, and you have tongues everywhere, and you have genitals everywhere. And here we can see that this is generated before the bodies. Like here there is no bodies, like Lord Brahma described. Okay, the demigods are created and they are in charge of controlling like the movement of the body, the bodily movement. And then here it describes that the skin is created, the nose, the eyes, but it's, I don't know, there's something that happened in your class that I realized, it's not even put into a shape yet, but they already exist. So it helped me understand what the Lord said in the 11th chapter, because all those laws, they are already created, and before any insect or anything, like any body yet. It's
I think
created.
there's this pradhana, where there's it's like I see it as like the wardrobe, you say, and Lord Brahma just pulls everything from there.
Yeah.
That's in the third canto, and it was really hard to grasp for me.
Aggregate with the material energy, and it seems to include the eyes, the nose, the tongue, the mouth, the hands, genitals, legs, and the outlet for evacuating. That this is part of it. But in a sense, it's not like the soul is at the origin of the material energy, like the living entities. And it seems, but the material energy already contains all that.
There's subtle forms, subtle forms of eyes and legs. There's the subtle forms, and then they have their gross manifestation.
But yeah, it doesn't seem that it's subtle form in this verse, does it? Do you understand that's the subtle form?
Sure.
By further transformation in about fashion, the sense organs like the hair, skin, nose, eyes, tongue, mouth, and genitals, legs, and the outlet for evacuating, together with intelligence and living energy, are all generated.
There's a lot of subtleties, right?
like just like everything of legs and hands and eyes. Okay, well then, right. So then there's like demigods, and so my understanding is like their bodies are made of more subtle, more sattvic energy, but they have hands and legs. And yeah, this is very Sankhya. That like yesterday in the verse you read and gave class on, it's described the mind is generated from goodness. So we go, what?
That's what I thought.
Yeah, and we didn't even go there in the discussion because it's there's so much to that verse. So the mind from goodness. So my mind can hardly my mind wouldn't know goodness if it tripped on it, you know. So and then here we hear the senses are coming from passion. So it's very interesting. The intelligence and the senses are coming from passion. But we can apply our intelligence ignorantly or in sattva. Similarly, the mind's same with the senses. Similarly, the mind's coming from goodness. And then we can apply it, utilize it in an ignorant way, a passionate way, a transcendental way, sattvic way. So because the senses, whether it's the knowledge acquiring senses or the action senses, it's all about action. So we understand the passion, and so we can direct the intelligence and senses in a way that is conducive for liberation towards sattva and transcendence.
I have a question from different area, but I don't want to disturb you if you are continuing discussing about senses.
No, it's okay.
That's okay.
No, I'm not picking late.
I didn't have any question. I was just having a realization about how the senses, the organs and the senses seems to be manifested before like lower species of life than the demigods. That's what I'm understanding from this verse. So that's all. I was just not having a question.
Yes, so my question. I appreciated your class. So you said that like the first duty is to be happy.
The first?
Duty is to be happy
Yeah.
in Krishna consciousness. So I like that, and also I'm disturbed by it. And what I'm thinking is like, okay, so what if Arjuna hears Bhagavad Gita from Krishna, and he doesn't have Vijnana, he just has like Jnana. He is like, okay, Krishna, I understand what you are saying, it makes sense to me, and I still feel pain to kill my family and friends. And if I do that, I will likely feel resentful and angry and like that. So if Arjuna is like not a pure devotee, but like a conditioned soul like me, so how is he going to be happy in service Krishna?
I don't know exactly how to answer that question, but when you were speaking about Arjuna's dilemma and Arjuna's varieties, like how he's reacting to the whole scenario and he's crying, and I immediately thought about this like challenge that once someone in India, I think someone challenged Prabhupada that if Arjuna was self-realized, why did he cry when that was after the Bhagavad Gita already, but I think he cried when his sons were murdered or something like that, when Ashwatthama killed his sons. And Prabhupada said, well, this is, he doesn't have like a stone heart. He is in the material world and some things are happening and he is lamenting too about the material world. It's not like happiness in Krishna consciousness. For me, what it means, it's not that we're like, like it's not shown in a one particular way. It has many. So my Hebrew now is popping up. I don't know. Many like the scale has X and Y.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Axiom.
You say?
Many varieties.
Varieties, many.
Axis.
X.
Axis.
Yeah, many many ways how this happiness projects. So Arjuna
Dimensions.
dimensions, yeah. So yeah, Arjuna, someone who is happy in Krishna consciousness, or someone who has that vigyan, or being in that vigyan, it doesn't mean necessarily to be happy in a particular way. And yeah, that's what kind of comes to me. Like even like there was another case, similar instance when Krishna, there was the demon Mayadanava, or someone who created this island, and he stole Krishna's father, and then he killed Krishna's father, Vasudeva. He killed Vasudeva right in front of Krishna, and Krishna, he knows everything. He's in the heart of the demon and Vasudeva and everyone's heart, and he knows what's going on. But seemingly he like almost like fainted, or he did faint, and he was like really perplexed and unhappy, and so he but still there was all like part of this
when the cowherd boys went into the mouth of Agasura, Krishna was really depressed.
Oh, yeah.
He was really sad. So there's the whole variety of feeling and emotion.
My question is more like, what if Arjuna didn't have to be young?
My response to you will be like, my sense is that Krishna was committed to give the time that it takes for Arjuna to be convinced. Because Arjuna, like, there's the first chapter, and then Arjuna came to like, okay, I will surrender. And then he asked question and he asked question until his intelligence is satisfied, until he has Vigyan. And I heard once that, I don't remember where and how, but Krishna was ready to speak the Bhagavad Gita another time to Arjuna, until he came to a place like, yeah, I want to do that. Like, Arjuna is going to go, okay, I guess I have to do it, and then after getting resentful at Krishna. No, that's not how it works. Krishna is there and is speaking to Arjuna, and it took 45 minutes. At the same time, you can say, well, what Krishna had to say could have said in 5, but I believe it took 45 minutes because that's what Arjuna needed to come to a Vigyan.
Yeah, Prabhupada makes it clear, just as you're saying, Krishna was ready to explain the whole thing again.
Yeah.
Do you have any more questions? Is there anything else? Are your doubts satisfied? That's very clear. And my sense with Ramachandra Prabhu, that your essential point was the Acharya principle, the stay high forever principle. Because, okay, apart from, Arjuna had a big dilemma, and that's okay. And we have our dilemmas. But the idea is that, okay, we chant Hare Krishna, we're in Kirtan, we do morning program, and we're happy.
Yeah.
Right? Sure, we might have, what's my service? Should I do that? Okay, there's that. But basically, we practice the process, and we're happy, then that's potent. And that's potent, because people are suffering. They have their masks on.Maybe it's a happy mask, whatever, but people are suffering, people are alienated, and people are depressed and fear and full of confusion and resentment. And so the devotees, clear-minded, chant Hare Krishna, have a strong morning program, and then we're high.
Yeah.
It's the natural high, and that's attractive. And then naturally, whatever we share, it has potency. Whereas if it's just like, if we're not experienced that high and we're depressed and frustrated, and then say, chant and be happy, not going to have potency. If I'm still smoking and I tell you not to smoke, it's not very powerful. So that's the essential point I got from you.
Yeah, we can all find something that makes us happy in the process, to whatever extent we take the process and share it, and from a place that we feel truly happy and content doing that. Like for example, what attracted me from the very beginning to the process, I was doing like the physical yoga exercises, and I read somewhere that you have to wake up very early to do that. And when I was invited to stay in a temple, and they told me, well, you're gonna have to wake up at 4. I was like, oh, really? That's where you do that? That's where I can learn how to wake up at 4. Jai, that's great. And till this day, I feel that this is something that can enhance everyone's everyone's life, and like seeing the sunrise, and like what can be more beautiful than that? Like to start the day from this
You have
fireworks.
you have
sky.
happiness. You get to rise early. You get to rise at 4 a.m. And so it's like you have some vijnan there, and so you're enthusiastic to share with others. We get up early and it's such a happy life. There's potency.
Yeah, so Krishna, I think Krishna everywhere, to whatever extent we understand or don't understand Krishna, he gives us enough taste to realize it to that extent and share it. And by sharing, we see too how much we realize. Like, I don't know, like to sort of like, I don't know, conclude my sort of answer to what you asked is that everywhere, in every gyan, there is some amount of vijnana. Like it's not that we just read the book and we don't understand anything. Even if we read the book and we understand absolutely zero, that's a realization. I don't understand anything. Wow, what a beautiful point to start from. And even that, it gives us some like happiness from this sense of silly humor.
Well, that happens to me. I'll read something, I don't understand anything, but there's realization. I have realization. It's a good use of 15 minutes to read Prabhupada's books, and I understood the philosophy more, or I didn't get much intellectually this time. Usually I do, but I didn't get much intellectually this time. I didn't see where it applied, but I'm steady in that realization. It's a good use of time to read Prabhupada's books, whatever cognitively I get or not.
Yeah, better than scrolling the feed and looking at the gross visualization months later. Yeah. Anything else? Anything else on the internet? Charlene, Gary?
No, Prabhu, just listening. Thank you.
Krishna, come for some laddus. We still have some laddus.
I did. Yeah. I did love that comment too about our first duty.
About?
I did love the comment as well. Ladini mentioned it about our first duty.
Okay. To be happy.
Or high in Krishna consciousness and sharing that. Really nice. Simple, nice.
Yeah. By sharing it, you get even more high.
Yeah, like to chant "Be Happy." You equated happy with high. And then like the first pamphlet they printed, the first center on 2nd Avenue was established, and of course it was kind of 1966 New York, hippie scene, tune in, turn on, and drop out. And so the first pamphlet they printed was entitled "Stay High Forever."
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. Because even a high, apart from most substance-induced highs, they're not really highs of the soul. They're something else. But even if they were the soul getting high, well, then there's crash. What happened? Where are you at 12 hours later? Like that. And then one of Prabhupada's first followers and supporters was Allen Ginsberg. And he was a real intellectual leader of the beatnik hippie movement. He was famous as a poet amongst the alternative section. And he interviewed him on newspaper or TV. And he said, yes, this Krishna consciousness is more far out than any acid trip I've ever taken.
Oh,
he said that. Ginsberg. So this is the Stay High Forever program.
But I don't agree with that.
Well, Ginsberg has his experience.
But I don't have this experience.
You don't have. Yeah. Ginsberg has.
So your acid were better, you mean? Your acid better?
Yeah, I think they too. They made posters like that with Prabhupada with a head, and he was holding himself. And Brahmananda, he said, "Oh look, Prabhupada, he saw," or not even Brahmananda, someone from the New York, from the newspaper, someone commented that, "Oh look, Prabhupada is so high that he has to push himself down," and they use that as the poster for the Avalon concert.
It's in my dining room.
Yeah, and I made T-shirts like that, and you can buy them. And there's a chant and stay high forever around Prabhupada. It's on my YouTube channel. Just a little advertisement.
Please advertisement.
Yes. Hare Krishna. Thank you,
Hare
everyone.
Krishna.
All glories to Prabhupada.
Thank you,
Hare
Ramachandra. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Charlene's not here. You need to catch it earlier.
Hare Krishna.
She left about 30 seconds.
Prashadam's ready.
Wish I would.